All right, gentlemen, the year is 2021. The dust has settled. The campaign is over. The Snyder Cut has been released. Where the hell do we go from here? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, welcome back to another episode of The Real Heroes. Got Cory here with Nick as always. And just like we had for our Justice League review, Austin Carlisle is joining us again as well. Ready to talk about, do we restore the SnyderVerse? So it didn't even seem, if you rewind the clocks back about a year or so, that this movie even existed to begin with. And now we're talking about, are there going to be sequels? Is Ben Affleck coming back as Batman? Is the Deathstroke thing happening? So we're going to chat about that and talk about where we'd like to see things go, where we think things will go, and just kind of riff off of that from there. So, gentlemen, I think Austin, you had a good point offline about how there was the one scene in the Snyder Cut where Cyborg sees the vision of the future. You want to dive into that a little bit and what that might mean?
Yeah, so I think what that is, because the mother box is like this living, breathing, organic mattered machine, so I think it's almost like a warning. It's like, if you resurrect him, this is what could happen, and the entire time he's doing that countdown, the ship is like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, up
Right.
into the last minute. And then in the vision, Lord of Apocalypse himself, in Atlantis, killing people, Omega beams, he corrupts Superman. And in that scene, I showed Nick earlier, but when Darkseid walks up behind him, Superman is holding like the scorched remains of Lois Lane.
Crispy.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch that again. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Wonder Woman is having that funeral. Darkseid's ship lowers and he begins to walk down the ramp.
Yeah.
And, it sets up that epilogue, that nightmare timeline of,
for sure.
They failed.
Didn't Darkseid kill Aquaman in that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was him up against the wall with his own trident stuck through it, right?
Yeah. Stabs him and then Omega beams him.
Yeah.
Which is
so,
like,
at that point, we've got Darkseid has killed Aquaman. Wonder Woman is dead because she's on a funeral pyre with coins over her eyes.
yep.
You see the remains of the Justice League headquarters, and I think Superman is holding Batman's cowl, right?
Yeah.
When that happens,
There's also a dead Green Lantern that laying
is there?
the rubble.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is meant to set up the epilogue at the end of the film, right?
Right.
So where do you think Snyder would have gone from there? Obviously, you've got a team up of some good guys, some bad guys. It kind of seems like really the only people that are left. They're obviously terrified of Superman. So where does it go from here?
I think what happens is, in BVS, you have Flash, time traveling and talking to Bruce, and he's wearing that same, suit, heavy duty suit in that epilogue. And they're clearly making their way to that main ship, so,
Right.
which is where Joker comes in. So what I think is that they have to go and take a mother box and use it to time travel to go back and warn Bruce. And that's where Joker comes in, and also the whole Restore the SnyderVerse. The Suicide Squad was also butchered by the studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To the
we don't
point
talk about
where-
that movie.
Yeah, we don't. Steppenwolf was supposed to be in the third act of
Really?
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Hmm.
And Joker, I don't know the full details, but Joker comes in contact with one of these mother boxes. So he's familiar with it. And that's why he has to make this truce, Bruce, you know, with him, because he has to help steal it for them. Like, that's his role, I think. So
it all connects too, because that makes sense with the Suicide Squad tie-in, because Batman says in the epilogue, when I was holding Harley Quinn as she was bleeding to death, she made me make a promise to kill you, and I will fucking kill you, and I'm gonna do it slowly or whatever. Like, so it kind of seems like Snyder was trying to thread the needle and really connect all this stuff that we've already seen and move it into something in the future. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but there were supposed to be 2 more Justice League films after this.
Yeah, because did you guys see that the gallery out in Dallas where they had they
had storyboards,
the Batman
right?
suit. Yeah, they had storyboards.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
In there, I guess the second one was going to be, in Justice League, where some of that vision, I think, would have tied in, and the third one would have been Nightmare.
Okay. So the third movie would have been entirely taking place in the same timeline as the epilogue from Justice League. Interesting. Man, I would be very curious to see how we get from where Justice League ended to there. How does Darkseid make his way back? I think he says something about we'll do it the old way.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way or something like that. Like,
what
uses this to ready the Armada.
Yeah.
Which is like, my guess is we're just gonna travel through space. Like,
that's what I would think.
You know, literally, like, I have all these ships. You know, apocalypse. Like, we're just gonna. If it takes 5 years of traveling, then it takes 5 years of traveling, sort of thing. Like,
okay.
I mean, I don't know how, where they would be. In conjunction to where Earth is.
I mean, Apocalypse is in the fourth world, so it's in a different universe than.
Okay,
like,
so
it exists outside of the multiverse.
Interesting. So then, what the hell would the old way be then?
Yeah,
I'm not too familiar with that from
that's what
comic related stuff.
Like, Darkseid could literally just be like, "All right, I'm out, peace," boom tube to Earth, and just destroy it,
kill everyone.
So so it's like he could do it, right? But then because in the war scene, like, we see his ships coming.
Yeah.
So how did he do that the last time, I guess?
Well, is that the old way? Because they didn't have the 3 other boxes at that point, did they? Like, they didn't have the Unity when they fought the old gods.
They did.
Oh, did they? Okay.
They did. Yeah.
Unity
they did.
mixed with Earth, because the anti-life.
Oh, that's right. And then it made the 3, and then everybody took them and went their own way with them. Okay, so then what is the old way then?
It's gotta be,
if you're watching this and
please comment.
Please chime in and comment and enlighten us, or at least if you've got an interesting theory about it, by all means chime in. But I don't know, like, I kind of figured it would be some sort of dimensional travel, but at the same time, like, how long is that going to be? Like, literally within the SnyderVerse as well. Like, how much time would essentially pass? Like, are we talking 2 years? But at that point has I would imagine, like, the Justice League, in Wayne Manor, when there's like at least room for 6, and then room for more, as Diana says. And so and it would be cool to see a Justice League headquarters set up with all the fancy techs and gadgets just there, and like actually have some sort of not say round table, but just a gathering for everyone to sit at, and like to see Martian Manhunter there, Green Lantern with John Stewart there,
Shazam could show up.
Shazam, right? Like, I mean, there's so much that they could add, and that's the problem, I think, with the DC. And I know, like, people aren't a big fan of Zack Snyder's take on it all. However, I want to give him credit because at least he's trying to have some continuity within the DCEU, like, because everyone else is all fucking scatterbrained. Like, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here. It's like you guys, you realize this shit doesn't work all the time, right? Like, look what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing. I understand, but someone who collects comic books and has been collecting comic books for decades at this point, I understand that shit's not always going to be the same. So we can take it what we get and like it or not like it. You don't have to watch these movies, right? Like, I don't like the sequel trilogy from Star Wars. I don't watch it. I don't consider it existing in my world. However, it exists. I don't care. If people like it, that's fine. Good for you. Let's move on. For the
it's
sake
at least
of
part of the canon, like
exactly. It's
the
there.
DC stuff. It's like what's happening,
right? DC. It's like, well, the Dark Knight trilogy, amazing, right? It sucks that it's not tied into anything, but that's Christopher Nolan's take on Batman and his enemies. Same thing with Matt Reeves, right? Like this new take on a younger detective style Batman. Is it going to be good? I think so.
Yeah.
Will it have any continuity to anything else? Probably not.
Probably not.
That's my take on it. So for the sake of what Zack Snyder was trying to do, from the Man of Steel to BVS to Justice League and what was supposed to come after that, like, at least you can kind of get behind the man's ideas and be like, you know what, like, I gotta give him props for trying to create a universe that has like here to here and starting and stopping points with a movie. So if you wanted to sit down and watch it over the course of a weekend or a week, kind of like what we can do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you can. It's just with the SnyderVerse. So kind of going back to the time where it would jump to, I don't know how many years would need to pass. 2 years maybe, until Darkseid shows up. But and that's, again, kind of wondering if they would go along with the whole Nightmare timeline, or does that actually happen? But
or is that really all just a dream?
Does it get reversed? Yeah.
The only times we've ever seen that footage, it's either been, Bruce tripping out at his desk or Bruce sleeping. So like it might not even be a thing, which is entirely possible. So I think my thing with it is what you were getting at is, you have the Chris Nolan Batman stuff, you have Matt Reeves Batman stuff, you have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker thing, you've got all the Zack Snyder stuff, and then like Birds of Prey is kind of connected to that, but it also kind of disconnected from it. The Suicide Squad that James Gunn is doing is completely different from the Suicide Squad movie in the DCEU, but it has some of the same characters. They're doing a Flashpoint movie with Ezra Miller, but we don't really know if it's going to connect to the Zack Snyder stuff. It just seems like everything is all over the place. And will they make the attempt to connect all of it? I don't know. If they do, how would they? And if the Snyder stuff, if the fan reaction is so huge and it does a ton of business for HBO or whatever, and they green light more Zack Snyder stuff, how does DC address the fact that they just have like a bunch of different universes happening all at the same time? Do they do a giant multiverse epic movie 10 years from now where all of it collides and it's a Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing? I don't know. It's very interesting because that doesn't even factor in, you've got the Arrowverse on CW. That's another DC thing that doesn't connect to any of this, but it kind of does because Barry Allen showed up at the end of that one Flash season, and I don't know. It's strange. I'm curious to see logistically where it will go.
The other thing I'll add real quick, and then I want to hear his take, but the actors too. The actors all want to continue portraying their roles, right? Maybe the only person I might be suspect of is Ben Affleck. But I think if Zack Snyder was doing it, and I think if everyone else was on board, right? Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Ezra, Ray.
You know,
Henry.
Ray would be.
Oh, dude, like, well, we already know Gal will always be Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
Jason Momoa has expressed tons of interest in being Aquaman.
Well, and they're doing a sequel, right?
Yeah,
that's still in the works.
When, but but Henry Cavill has expressed multiple times, even though the fucking media is like, oh, he's not going to be Superman anymore. Like, listen, we said this multiple times watching the Snyder Cut. There will never be a better Superman, in my opinion. Going back to the OG Superman of Christopher Reeves,
yes.
right? I know he's the OG. In my opinion, Henry just has it down. Like, and you want to take that away from the fans? No, come on, listen. He wants to do it. He wants to play the role. Like, it makes it easy for the director, the studio, the writer, the writing for it. Like, just make it happen. So if everyone is on board to continue portraying the roles, it's really up to Zack Snyder if he wants to continue his take on it, and then obviously pitching it to Warner Brothers, which I think that's the hardest part is the studio. It's the
green lights. So we're running a little bit long on this video, so I want to ask just point blank, yes or no. Austin, I'll have you go first. Does the SnyderVerse get restored? Yes or no?
I think yes.
Okay. Nick, how do you feel? You think it's gonna happen?
I do.
Okay. I think it's probably going to as well.
At some point.
Based on all the reactions this weekend. Second yes or no question, does it tie into all the existing DC stuff, or is it kind of like an Elseworld that lives on its own?
Yes to both. I think it's
okay.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it kind of has to be.
Okay, so we all think it's going to happen. We all think that it will connect in some way.
Yeah.
Fun, interesting. Well, we could go on about this for probably another 4 hours. It could be a Justice League length episode
type review.
Talking about the ins and outs of how movie studios work and creative vision and all that stuff. But I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap it up. We all kind of seem we're in agreement that the SnyderVerse probably can, should, and will be restored in some way, shape, or form. So if you have any thoughts on that, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a comment below with your thoughts on this whole thing. How do you feel about Henry Cavill as Superman? Do you want him to hang up the cape, or do you want him to continue? Same thing with Ben Affleck. Do you think he'd want to come back? Do you think he should come back? Or do you think Robert Pattinson should take the reins and go forward from here? Definitely be on the lookout for some more videos from us this week. We've got Falcon and Winter Soldier reactions as well as predictions after that banger of a first episode that came out. And as always, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all of your notifications so that way you never miss another video from us. And until next time, we will see you guys in the next video.